I watched my son through the coffee shop window, his hands moving with practiced efficiency as he pulled espresso shots for the evening rush. 20 years old, straight-A student at the University of Toronto's computer science program, and he still insisted on working 20 hours a week at this café in the annex. The December wind cut through my jacket as I stood there, pride and worry mixing in equal measure. His name was Ethan. My son, my whole world since his mother, Rebecca, died when he was 4. 16 years of just the two of us, against everything life threw our way. I worked as a structural engineer, made decent money, enough to give him a comfortable life. But Ethan never wanted comfortable. He wanted to earn his own way. My phone buzzed. My brother Graham's number flashed on the screen. Michael, you're still coming tomorrow night, right? Christmas Eve dinner at the house. Of course. Ethan and I will be there around 6. There was a pause. Too long. About that. Patricia was hoping we could make it adults only this year. You know, sophisticated conversation, wine pairings, that sort of thing. My hand tightened around the phone. Patricia, Graham's wife of 5 years, the woman who'd inherited a real estate empire from her father and never let anyone forget it. Ethan's 20. Graham. He's hardly a child. I know. It's just... Patricia's inviting some important clients. She wants everything to be perfect. What's wrong with Ethan? Another pause. Nothing's wrong with him. It's just, well, he works at a coffee shop. Michael. Patricia's worried it might come up in conversation. The words hit me like a physical blow. He works at a coffee shop because he's paying his own way through university. He has a 4.0 GPA. He's been offered internships at 3 tech companies for next summer. I know that. You know that. But Patricia's clients don't know that. They'll just see a kid who serves coffee. I looked back through the window. Ethan was laughing with a regular customer, probably Mrs. Chen, who always ordered the same vanilla latte. He had Rebecca's smile, her kindness. We'll be there at 6, I said, and hung up. That night, I didn't tell Ethan about the conversation. He was excited about Christmas Eve, had even bought new clothes for the dinner. A button-down shirt from a thrift store, but he'd ironed it carefully, hung it on his closet door. Uncle Graham's place is always so fancy, he said while we ate leftover pizza. Remember last year? They had that ice sculpture of a swan. I remember. Do you think Aunt Patricia will like the gift I got her? I saved up for that French soap set. My heart broke a little. She'll love it, buddy. The next evening, we drove to Muskoka, where Graham and Patricia had built their lakeside mansion 3 years ago. 6,000 square feet of glass and stone, with a view that could stop your heart. Graham had paid for most of it, sure, but Patricia made sure everyone knew her family's money had made it possible. We arrived at 5:30. I'd planned it that way, wanted to help set up, show we were grateful for the invitation. The circular driveway was already lined with expensive cars. BMWs, Mercedes, 1 Bentley. I parked my 10-year-old Honda between a Porsche and a Tesla. We're early, Ethan said, grabbing the gifts from the back seat. That's good, right? We can help. We walked to the front door. I rang the bell. Through the frosted glass, I could see people moving, hear laughter and music. Bing Crosby singing about white Christmases. Patricia opened the door. She was wearing a dress that probably cost more than my mortgage payment, diamonds at her throat. Her smile was practiced, perfect, and completely empty when she saw Ethan. Michael, you're early. Not a greeting, an accusation. We thought we could help set up. Everything's already done. Her eyes flicked to Ethan, down to his thrift store shirt, back up. Graham's in the study. Why don't you go find him, Michael? Ethan, perhaps you could wait in the garage? Some of the guests have allergies, and you smell quite strongly of coffee. I felt Ethan stiffen beside me. I showered, changed clothes right after my shift. I'm sure you did. Patricia's voice was ice wrapped in silk, but the smell lingers, doesn't it? In your hair, your skin. It's quite pungent. The garage is heated, and there's a chair. It'll just be 20 minutes or so, until everyone arrives. Then you can come in. Patricia, I started. It's fine, Dad. Ethan's voice was small, defeated. I'll wait in the garage. No, it's not. Please, Dad, I don't want to cause problems. He walked away before I could stop him, around the side of the house, toward the 5-car garage. Patricia watched him go, then turned back to me with that same empty smile. Graham's waiting for you, second door on the left. I should have followed Ethan. I should have grabbed him and left right then, but I didn't. I walked into that house full of strangers, drinking champagne and eating catered appetizers, and I went to find my brother. Graham was in his study, on the phone. He waved me in, held up one finger. Wait. I waited, looked at the photos on his wall. Graham and Patricia at some charity gala. Graham and Patricia with their kids, Madison and Carter, on a yacht somewhere tropical. No photos of Ethan. No photos of Rebecca. No photos of our parents, who died within a year of each other, 5 years back. He hung up. Michael. Good, you're here. Listen, I need to talk to you about something. Patricia sent Ethan to wait in the garage. Graham had the decency to look uncomfortable. It's just until the other guests arrive. She's trying to make a good impression on the Hendersons. They're looking to invest in her new development. He's your nephew. I know. And I love him. But you have to understand Patricia's position. These people, they judge based on appearances. If they find out Ethan works at a coffee shop, he's a university student with a 4.0, he's working his way through school. That's admirable. Really. But these people don't see it that way. They see service industry, and they make assumptions. I stared at my brother. This man I'd grown up with, who'd taught me how to ride a bike, who'd held me when our parents died. When had he become this? Where are your kids? I asked quietly. Upstairs, getting ready. Patricia hired a photographer for family portraits. Family portraits. Yes. The living room, by the tree. It's going to be beautiful. I turned and walked out. Graham called after me, but I kept going. Through the living room, where people I didn't know were laughing about stock options and winter homes in Arizona. Through the kitchen, where caterers were arranging beef Wellington on silver platters. Out the side door. The garage was immaculate, like everything Patricia touched. 5 vehicles lined up like soldiers. Her Range Rover, Graham's Audi, Madison's Mercedes, a gift for her 16th birthday 6 months ago, Carter's BMW, early present for his upcoming 14th birthday, and a vintage Corvette Graham was restoring. Ethan sat on a folding chair in the corner, between the Corvette and a stack of winter tires. He was holding a sandwich, the kind you get from gas stations. Pre-packaged, probably stale. He'd already eaten half. Hey, Dad. He tried to smile. Couldn't quite manage it. Found this in the garage fridge. I guess the landscapers leave stuff here. I knelt in front of him. What happened? Nothing happened. I'm just waiting, like Aunt Patricia asked. Ethan. He looked away. Madison came out about 10 minutes ago. She's wearing this dress, Dad. Probably costs $1,000. She saw me and just laughed. Asked if I was the help. When I said no, I'm her cousin. She said, oh right, the coffee boy. Then she went back inside. My hands curled into fists. We're leaving. No, please. I don't want to make things weird between you and Uncle Graham. It's fine. Really, I'm used to this. Used to what? He shrugged. Being looked down on. It's okay. I know who I am. I know what I'm working toward. Their opinion doesn't matter. But I could see it in his eyes. It did matter. Because they were family, and family was supposed to matter. How long have you been dealing with this? Since Aunt Patricia married Uncle Graham. She's never liked me. Last Christmas. Remember when I spilled wine on the tablecloth? It was an accident. But she made me sit in the kitchen the rest of the night. The Christmas before that, she gave Madison and Carter these huge presents, and she gave me a keychain. A keychain, Dad. From a gas station, still had the price sticker on it. $2.99. Each word was a knife. 5 years. 5 years of this, and I'd been too blind to see it. Why didn't you tell me? Because Uncle Graham's your only family. Besides me, I mean. I didn't want to be the reason you lost him. I pulled him into a hug. He was tall now, taller than me, but in that moment, he was 4 years old again, crying at his mother's funeral, asking why everyone was so sad. You listen to me, I said. You are worth 10 of every person in that house. You're kind and you're smart and you work harder than any of them have ever had to work. Your mother would be so proud of you. I am so proud of you. Thanks, Dad. Finish your sandwich. Then we're going inside. Dad, no, please. We're going inside, I repeated. And we're going to sit at that dinner table. And we're going to hold our heads high. Because we have nothing to be ashamed of. We waited in that garage for another 15 minutes. I could see the house through the window in the door. People arriving, greeting each other with air kisses and practiced laughs. A photographer setting up equipment in the living room. Finally, Patricia came to get us. Everyone's here now. You can come in. But please, try to blend in. Don't draw attention. I didn't respond. Just followed her inside with Ethan behind me. The living room was packed. 30, maybe 35 people, all dressed like they were attending a royal wedding. Crystal glasses, designer suits, jewelry that could finance a small country. They looked at us when we walked in. Looked at my sport coat from Moore's, at Ethan's thrift store shirt. I saw the judgments forming, the dismissals. Graham appeared at my elbow. Michael, good, come, let me introduce you to some people. He steered me toward a cluster of men near the fireplace. I looked back at Ethan. He'd been intercepted by Patricia, who was pointing him toward a chair in the corner, away from everyone else. Like quarantine. The men Graham introduced me to were polite but disinterested. I was just his brother, the engineer. Nothing impressive about that. One of them asked what I did, and when I explained about structural engineering, he literally yawned. Must be steady work, he said, the way you might compliment someone's reliable used car. I kept watching Ethan. He sat in that corner chair, hands folded in his lap, trying to be invisible. Madison walked past him twice, whispering to her friends. They looked at him and giggled. Carter, Graham's son, was friendlier. He actually went over and talked to Ethan for a few minutes, but then Patricia called him away, needed him for the family photos. The photographer gathered everyone around the Christmas tree. Patricia and Graham in the center, Madison and Carter flanking them. Picture perfect family. Let's get one with extended family, the photographer suggested. Patricia's smile never wavered. This is fine as is. Thank you. She didn't even look at Ethan. Dinner was announced. We moved to the dining room, where a table that could seat 40 had been set with china that probably cost more than my car. Place cards indicated where everyone should sit. I found mine. Far end of the table, second to last chair. I looked for Ethan's name, found it at the very end, the last seat, next to the kitchen door, where servers would be constantly passing through. I picked up his card and mine, moved us to 2 empty seats in the middle of the table. Michael. Patricia appeared behind me. Those seats are reserved. For who? The Hendersons. They're potential investors. Then put them at the end. That's not how this works. The seating chart was carefully planned. Then unplan it. We locked eyes. Hers were cold, calculating. Mine were tired of this, tired of her, tired of watching my son be treated like garbage by people who should love him. Fine. She snatched the cards from my hand. But if the Hendersons are offended, that's on you. The dinner started. Salad course, soup course, more food than anyone could possibly eat. The conversations around me were about things I didn't care about. Property values in Muskoka, which private school was best for elementary students, whether Aspen or Whistler had better skiing this year. I checked on Ethan. He was eating quietly, trying to be invisible again. A server came through the kitchen door and bumped his chair. The server apologized. Ethan smiled and said it was fine. Madison, across the table, rolled her eyes. At least he's used to restaurant chaos, right? From his little coffee shop. Several people laughed. Ethan's face turned red. I opened my mouth. Graham beat me to it. Madison, that's enough. What? It's true. Cousin Ethan serves coffee. It's not an insult. It's his job. Your cousin is working his way through university, Graham said. That takes discipline and character. Patricia touched Graham's arm. Darling, let's not make a scene. I'm not making a scene. I'm defending my nephew. From what? The truth? Patricia's voice had an edge now. The boy works in a coffee shop. If he's embarrassed by that, perhaps he should make better choices. The table had gone quiet. Everyone was watching now. Dinner theater they hadn't expected. I stood up. The chair scraped against the hardwood floor, loud in the silence. Better choices, I repeated. Like your kids? Patricia blinked. Excuse me? Madison's 16. She drives a Mercedes. You bought her. She's failing English and had to be tutored through math last year. Carter's 13. He has a BMW waiting for his birthday, and I heard you had to donate a wing to his school to smooth over that plagiarism incident last spring. How dare you? My son works 20 hours a week while maintaining a 4.0 GPA. He's been accepted to internships at Microsoft, Google, and Shopify for next summer. He pays his own phone bill, his own car insurance, buys his own clothes. He bought that French soap he gave you with money he earned pulling espresso shots for people who probably treat him exactly the way you're treating him right now. I walked around the table to where Ethan sat, placed my hands on his shoulders. He's worth more than everyone in this room combined. Because he knows the value of hard work. He knows how to be kind to people who can do nothing for him. He knows how to be humble. Things your children will never learn, because you've never taught them that money doesn't make you better than anyone else. It just makes you richer. Patricia stood now, her face flushed. Get out of my house. Gladly. I looked at Graham. My brother. The man I'd loved my whole life. You have a choice here, I said quietly. Right now, you can stand up with us, or you can stay seated with her. Graham looked between Patricia and me, his wife and his brother. I saw the calculation happening. Saw him weighing costs and benefits. Saw him choose. He stayed seated. I'm sorry, Michael, but Patricia's right. You're making a scene. Maybe it's better if you leave. Something died in me then. Some hope I'd been carrying without realizing it. Okay. I helped Ethan up. We walked toward the front door. Behind us, Patricia's voice rang out. And take your gifts with you. We don't need charity from people like you. I stopped. Turned back. The champagne tower stood on a side table near the entrance, 7 tiers of delicate glasses filled with golden bubbles. Patricia's pride. She'd been talking about it all week, Graham had mentioned. Professional event designers had constructed it. I walked over to it. Picked up 1 glass from the bottom tier. Michael, don't you dare, Patricia started toward me. I pulled the glass free. The tower collapsed in slow motion, a cascade of crystal and champagne. Hundreds of dollars of imported Dom Perignon flooding across Patricia's Persian rug, soaking into wood floors that had been specially treated to resist exactly this kind of damage. Glass shattered against marble. The sound was tremendous. The room was absolutely silent. My son serves coffee to pay for textbooks, I said into that silence. Your kids can't even serve themselves. We left, walked out into the December night, got into my Honda, and drove away. Neither of us spoke for the first 10 minutes. Then Ethan said, That was awesome, Dad. I'm sorry. For what? Standing up for me? Don't be sorry for that. I should have done it sooner. 5 years sooner. You did it when it mattered. We drove back to Toronto, to our small 3-bedroom house in Leslieville. We ordered pizza, watched It's a Wonderful Life. Fell asleep on the couch, somewhere around midnight, the TV still playing. Graham didn't call that night, or the next day, or the day after that. A week later, I got an email. Not from Graham, from his lawyer. Apparently, I owed Patricia $4,000 for the damaged rug and broken champagne glasses. The email was very professional, very cold. It laid out payment plans and legal consequences if I didn't comply. I responded through my own lawyer. Explained that if Patricia chose to pursue this, I would countersue for emotional distress caused to my son by 5 years of systematic psychological abuse. I would present evidence emails, text messages, testimony from family friends who'd witnessed her treatment of Ethan. I would make it public and messy, and exactly the kind of scandal Patricia's social climbing friends would love to gossip about. I never heard about the $4,000 again, but I also never heard from Graham. Months passed. Winter melted into spring. Ethan finished his semester with straight A's, accepted the internship at Google, in their Waterloo office. I was so proud, I cried. One Saturday in April, I was in the garage, working on my own car. The transmission was acting up when a familiar vehicle pulled into the driveway. Graham's Audi. I didn't stand up, didn't stop working, just waited. He got out, stood there for a long moment. The garage was always your space, he said finally. Even when we were kids, Dad's tools, but your territory. I tightened a bolt. What do you want, Graham? To talk. Took you 4 months. I know. I finally looked at him. He looked tired, older than I remembered. Patricia and I are getting divorced. The wrench slipped in my hand. What? I found out she's been having an affair. For 2 years. With her business partner. The one she was so desperate to impress at Christmas. He laughed, bitter. Turns out, she was sleeping with him. All those late meetings, those business trips. I was so focused on keeping her happy, on maintaining her perfect life. I didn't see it. I'm sorry. Don't be. I deserve it. For what I let her do to Ethan, for choosing her over you. I set down the wrench, stood up, wiped my hands on a rag. It's not about choosing her over me, Graham. It's about standing up for what's right. Ethan didn't deserve to be treated that way. I know, and I was a coward. I told myself it was easier to keep the peace, to not rock the boat. But the truth is, I was scared. Scared of losing her, losing the life we'd built, scared of being alone. And now? Now I'm going to be alone anyway. But at least I'll have my self-respect. If you'll let me, I'd like to try to earn back yours. I thought about it. About 5 years of slights and insults. About Ethan eating a gas station sandwich in a garage while his cousins ate beef Wellington. About Graham staying seated while Patricia threw us out. But I also thought about our childhood. About Graham teaching me to drive. About him being the one who planned our parents' funerals when I was too devastated to function. About him showing up at the hospital the night Ethan was born with flowers for Rebecca and a stuffed bear for the baby. People make mistakes, sometimes enormous ones. The question is whether they learn from them. Ethan's the one you need to talk to, I said finally. Not me. If he forgives you, then we'll see. Can I talk to him now? He's at work, at the coffee shop, corner of Bloor and Spadina. He gets off at 4. Graham nodded. Started to leave. Stopped. Thank you, Michael. Don't thank me yet. He might tell you to go to hell. I hope he does. I deserve it. But Ethan didn't tell Graham to go to hell, because Ethan was Rebecca's son, and Rebecca had never been able to hold a grudge. He listened to Graham's apology, accepted it, with conditions. Graham would have to prove he'd changed, would have to show up, consistently, without Patricia's influence. And he did. Started small. Came to Ethan's end-of-year presentation at university. Took us both out to dinner afterward. A small place in Kensington Market. Nothing fancy. Asked about Ethan's internship, his plans for the future. Really listened to the answers. In May, Graham's divorce was finalized. He moved out of the Muskoka mansion into a condo in Toronto. Smaller, simpler. He said it felt more like home. He saw Madison and Carter every other weekend. He was trying to rebuild those relationships too, trying to undo the damage Patricia's values had done. It was slow going. Madison was angry, bitter about the divorce. Carter was confused, but Graham kept showing up. That summer, Ethan started his internship at Google. He loved it. Came home every day excited about something he'd learned, some problem he'd helped solve. They offered him a full-time position before the internship even ended, conditional on him finishing his degree. I'm going to do it, he told me one evening. We were sitting on our back deck, drinking beer. He was legal now, had turned 21 in June. Graduate next year and go straight to Google. I'm proud of you, buddy. I'm proud of me too, he grinned. And it's all because you taught me that hard work matters, that character matters, that I should never let anyone make me feel small. Your mom taught you that. I just reinforced it. Mom would have liked Uncle Graham better like this, the way he is now. Yeah, she would have. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun set over our small backyard. It wasn't a Muskoka mansion. It wasn't a lakefront view. But it was ours, paid for with honest work, filled with genuine love. Graham came over for dinner that night. We grilled burgers, nothing fancy. He told stories about Madison's soccer games, about Carter's newfound interest in coding Ethan had gotten him started. We laughed. It felt good. As he was leaving, Graham pulled me aside. I wanted you to know. I set up education funds for Madison and Carter. Real ones, not trust funds they can access any time. They'll get it for university, but only if they maintain a 3.5 GPA or higher. And they have to work part-time jobs, 10 hours a week minimum. Patricia must love that. Patricia doesn't get a say anymore. My kids, my rules. They need to learn what Ethan knows, that nothing worth having comes easy. I clasped his shoulder. Welcome back, brother. Good to be back. I think about that Christmas Eve sometimes, about the choice Graham made and the choice I made, about standing up when it's hard, when it costs you something, about teaching our children that their worth isn't determined by what others think of them, but by who they choose to be. Ethan graduated the following spring, top of his class. Started at Google full-time in June. He's been there for 2 years now, already promoted once. He still works hard, still stays humble, still treats the administrative assistants and custodians with the same respect he shows the senior engineers. Because that's who he is. That's who his mother taught him to be, and who I tried my best to reinforce. And because he learned that night in a garage in Muskoka, that sometimes the people who matter most are the ones who stand up for you when you can't stand up for yourself. That's the lesson I hope everyone takes from this. Stand up for your children. Stand up for what's right, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because they're watching and they're learning what matters. And in the end, the only thing that really matters is how we treat each other. Everything else is just champagne towers waiting to fall.